1, 2, 3.
All right. Well, greetings, everybody. Welcome once again to the RecPoker Podcast, sponsored as always by Running Aces Racetrack, Casino, and Hotel, as well as website AMP. Now, in this chat's edition of the podcast, we're going to hang out once again with Farid Jattin. He is back by popular demand, currently the number 6 ranked GPI player in the world. And he's prepping for a training course that he's going to be doing exclusively for RecPoker Nation. So really excited about that. But first, let's introduce our panel. My name is Steve Fredland. I go by RecPoker Steve in the PokerStars home game. And one of the things I've really noticed here lately with all my business coaching and with poker is that the key to success is first having absolute clarity on what your definition of success is.
And I'm Chris Jones, 5x5 on PokerStars and Twitter, and I'm wishing you a happy new year. I'm hoping it is a big return for us all to live poker soon.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm Jim Reed, Bluff Serini in the home game, and at Hold'em_Steelers on Twitter. And my New Year's resolution is to win a bronze pin in the month of January.
And my name is John Somsky, and I'm Poker Geek MN everywhere. And today I bring you a quote by the late, great Lou Krieger. Most of the money you win at poker comes not from the brilliance of your own play, but from the ineptitude of your opponents.
And I'm Rob Washam. I'm Radman50 everywhere. And I've come to the realization lately that I'm a much better tournament player than I am a live cash player.
Oh, we're going to have to unpack that at some point. All right, Rob. Rob's out in Vegas now doing the thing. So we'll unpack that a little bit. A couple of really quick things that we will unpack a little bit more later. Just make sure if you're suspended from the home game still as of January 1st, we have the solution. Go to rec.poker/home game. We've got the free Jattin training course coming up. It starts February 3rd. Details are rec.poker/Farid, and save the date. January 27th is our first annual award show. I think we're going to call it the Reckies, and we're going to have so much fun with that deal. So we'll chat a little bit more about that after we talk with Farid, but let's bring him in. Farid, now you were just with us. It took us 220 episodes to find you, but only about 15 more to have you back on because everybody loved you so much. So how are you doing, man? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, brother. Yeah, happy to be back, man. I had a great time the first time, and yeah, it was pretty easy to accept coming back on the second time.
Yeah, it was so fun. People were like, man, he was just infectious. It was so much fun, and we've had an opportunity to hang out a little bit after that. And it's the real deal, man. You're such a fun guy, but also this terror at the table. And so we need to probe a little bit deeper into who Farid is. So where are you hanging out now? I never know, right? It's New York, it's Miami, it's Vegas. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I actually just got back to Colombia. You know, I'm on like 2 hours sleep because I was in New York before that, and I had to go to Miami for a couple of days. And but it feels good to be back home, man. To be honest, it felt good to eat my first, home cooked meal for a while. And yeah, I'm just happy to be back home. You know, a lot of times like traveling is amazing, obviously, but sometimes you just miss home. So I'm happy to be back.
And one of the things that we've talked a little bit about is how much you just love the country of Colombia, right? And that seems to be a common thread among Colombians. They just love the country. So tell us a little bit about what is it about Colombia that you just love, and maybe what's the first meal that you had when you got back home that you were just kind of craving?
Well, I think like number one, the energy of the people. Like I think here in Medellin, which is where I'm at right now, people are just really, really welcoming and like just really good vibes. And like you go somewhere to eat or anywhere and the service is amazing. Like everyone's just like good vibes all the time, which is something that I can't say the same thing about maybe the US or maybe like Europe. It's a bit more of a dry attitude or more of like, I'm just doing my thing and like, who cares about anybody else type of thing, which is fine. It's just different cultures, but that's one thing is like the human heat, like people just love other people here, so that's number one. Number two is just an amazing country overall. Like it's a beautiful place, and when you come with dollars, it's also very cheap, so yeah, it's just it's pretty amazing in all categories, I would say.
Last time we chatted on the podcast, you mentioned having us come over and do a rec poker trip to Colombia. And I know you were serious because you're a host and we were kind of having fun with it. But I've had like 3 or 4 people since then saying like, seriously, if we take a trip, I would love to go.
No, I was definitely serious, man. You just gotta let me know, like, so I can know in advance how many people I'm hosting. But yeah, I love that, man. Like I said, I love my country, and I love showing people what a great country it is, you know. And if you guys could come visit, and I'll make sure that you guys have an amazing time, eat some great food, and just like meet some great people. Yeah, I think it'll be amazing, man. I think we'll enjoy it a lot.
It'd be so fun. So let's talk a little bit about the training course we have coming up now. This is a course that you've delivered the course before, both in Spanish and in English. But for the folks that are just sort of catching wind now that actually RecPoker is going to be doing this training course that you're the instructor for, what should we expect? Who is this course for? Tell us a little bit of kind of a high level view of this thing.
Well, yeah, this course started in the quarantine. You know, like I said, I had a lot of demand for coaching in the past, but I never really had time for it, you know, because I was just focused on my grind and doing my thing. And now I wasn't really enjoying playing online full time. So I said, how can I be productive, but at the same time give back to the community a little bit, you know? So I figured that coaching was a nice way to do all that. And yeah, I've had a great time, man. I've had a great time with the coaching. I think that it's been a big success. You know, I think a lot of my students, most of them are very, very happy, if not all of them. They've all seen clarity when it comes to their game evolving a lot, you know, and I think the keys that I found, you know, I found ways to simplify very complex subjects into a way where, you know, maybe recreational or maybe like mid-stakes type of player could understand very advanced things without really having to do all the solver work and all the other things that a lot of us don't really want to do, you know. So I think that's been the main key, is that I'm trying to personalize poker again, where you find a way to focus on your strengths, avoid your weaknesses while working at them, you know. And then, like you were saying before, which I thought was amazing, is that, you know, success first, you got to find clarity on what success means to you, right? So at the poker table, it's kind of like the same thing. You got to find clarity with your plays, so then you can find the confidence to execute them, you know. So with this course, you can find a lot of clarity in a lot of spots, and then like in the spots where you don't find clarity, I incentivize you to avoid them in general, you know. That way, like, you only play when you find clarity, you know, while working at these tough spots, because we will come up with a lot of tough spots. I mean, like, poker is tougher than ever, but it's also more like solvable than ever, you know, where every spot has a right answer type of thing, you know. So it's all about putting in the work and finding a good crew to kind of, you know, do the whole studying and the whole community thing, which I think it's amazing. The studying as a community, I think it's another key to the course. You know, I think that all my groups, they start as students and they end up as friends, you know. Like, it's a big community at the end. They all help each other. We all talk about some hand histories, this and that. So yeah, I think overall it's just a great experience for everybody, you know. And I've really enjoyed it, because I really like to help the players, you know, just evolve. As like, that makes me happy. The other day, one of my students had 150K score. For me, that meant it was almost like more. I was more happy for him than I was when I win 150. So yeah, these type of things are very fulfilling, you know.
Yeah, well, learning poker in community. I don't know who that sounds like, but I wonder if RecPoker might have a niche. That's the drum that we beat all the time, is learn the game in community. Just the relationships, the fun, but then you know, disagreeing and sort of getting, you know, wrestling with the answers is so huge. And I had an opportunity. You sent a couple of videos of one of your previous courses, so I had a chance to preview what we're going to expect, and it was so interesting because you're such a good teacher, but yet there's this element of interactiveness where people can ask questions and engage, and you could like almost literally see the light bulb come on as people are having that conversation. They're going, oh. And I think for recreational players, so many of us are looking for that, right? We're looking for those light bulb moments where like, now I get how to play a draw in a certain situation, or now I know how to get value. And I think we just kind of struggle with that. So talk a little bit about, you know, who's the target audience for this? Because clearly, you know, you're one of the best players in the world, but you're able to explain it in a way that actually I can understand. So somewhere in between me and, you know, the top players in the world, who's kind of the sweet spot? Like, who are you targeting with this course?
Yeah, I think that number one, you know, you got to have a deep understanding of the game, right? Like, you can't just be a beginner. But besides that, I think it's pretty much for anyone who has a deep understanding of the game. You know, like it ranges from people, like I've had students all like with a very wide range, from people just starting to play, but they understand the game, they really want to get better, to all the way to people who are playing very high stakes. And like I was telling you before, you know, I want to make sure that I'm always kind of over delivering, you know, where I'm actually providing value for you. If not, it wouldn't feel right for me, you know. So I had one guy in one of my classes that plays very big, and I told him after the first class, I called him. I said, "Listen, man, like this might be a bit too basic for you. I mean, we do talk about very advanced stuff, but I know you play very big. I know you do a lot of solver work. So if you don't think this is advanced enough for you, you know, I'll give you a refund right away, no problem." And he said, "No, man, like, listen, like, I really like your energy, this and that. I know I'm going to get a lot from the course." And fast forward to now, I mean, the guy's on like a 400K heater a month later, and it's just been, it's just been crazy, man. It's been, I think at the end of the day, when you do things with the right intentions and you prepare well for them, I think only positive things come out of it, you know? So, I mean, I'm putting a lot of effort into it. And like I said, I think the key to the course is I've been able to simplify a lot of very advanced topics. And I found a way for you to see a lot of clarity, you know, in a lot of complex spots, you know, where you either got to avoid them or you got to take another route, or really focus on what works for Steve and not what works for the solver, you know, because that's something that 2020 we forget, or 2021 now, we're kind of forgetting to think about, you know. It's very robotic nowadays. So I want to kind of like personalize poker again is another key to the course, you know.
Jim, did you have something?
Yeah, I did, because I've been poring over the material, the promotional stuff, looking at the schedule and the different kind of classes and how you break down the material that you want to go through. And I love the way you're building the curriculum, starting with raise first in, then talking about 3-betting versus flatting, and then just this whole defending the big blind, and then later talking about in position versus out of position. Like, this is stuff that I think it'll even help some players that want to know more about the game and don't feel like they've really understood it yet. Like, there's going to be a lot of conceptual stuff here that's really going to have that light bulb moment for them. Like, can you talk a little bit about why you talk about offense and defense in position and out of position? Because even just that kind of concept, I think, is going to be really helpful for some folks.
Yeah, because I think, you know, I think that the mindset really shifts when you're playing defense or offense. And many people kind of think about the hand as the same way, you know, where like, you know, whatever, they have top pair and they got to go all the way to the river, whether they're playing defense or offense, or they want to bluff with a certain hand, no matter what, whether they're playing defense or offense. But actually that bluff might be 10 times more profitable when you're playing offense, because you're in position, you have a lot more information, you have a lot more clarity about the spot, you know. So I break down, first of all, I break down, like you said, I mean, I break down the game to the most important parts that I thought were necessary to start crushing tournaments, right? So we start obviously with the most basic things, like the raise first in ranges, this and that. And then we get all the way to the flop, turn, river play, like you said, defense and offense, you know. And also we go through different stack sizes. Like, I think it's a pretty complete course, you know. And I also have a very interesting class, which is the winning poker mentality class, you know, which I think mindset is one of the most important things in poker, you know. So I have a few mental coaches who are all top notch, and they kind of design a plan for us, or a 2-hour lesson for us, where it kind of, you know, because I think in poker, a lot of times we play the victim card, you know. We want to say that we're running bad, or you know, like, a lot of times we hate mentioning the fact that maybe it's our fault. Maybe we're not playing too good, or maybe we're too weak at taking the bad beats. It tilts the shit out of us, you know. Like, we take a beat and we can't recover for it mentally. So these type of things are very, very important when you want to get to the next level, you know. So that class is one of my favorite ones. And another one is the special guest class, you know, which actually has been super crazy, because I've had 3 special guests, you know. One of them was Martin Jacobson, which won the main event. The other one was Damian Salas, which actually just won the main event right now twice.
Yeah.
And he's actually a very, very good friend of mine. And the other one was someone who won the Party Poker Millions. So it's like everybody's just been crushing out of control. I mean, it's been really crazy, man. I can't really explain it, but it's just been everything related to the course has been just booming. You know, it's kind of like Bitcoin. Yeah, it's
You're
just,
the Bitcoin of poker training.
I mean, I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm just saying, like that's
No.
what's been happening, man. You know, it's been crazy. But like I said, I mean, I'm not surprised because, like I said, I really believe in energy and just doing things for the right reasons and the right time. So yeah, I think it's been natural because we're putting a lot of effort into it. You know, so I'm just happy with the product. You know.
And so we don't know who the special guest yet is for our course yet, do we?
No, I have a couple cool options.
I'm always trying to do breaking
really
news
nice
here.
one. I'll make sure it's a really nice one. You know, you'll be able to dig into the mind of like someone in the top 20 or just someone really interesting. Like I'm very picky with everything, so I'll make sure that the special host, the special guest will be a nice one for you guys.
Oh, we're not worried at all. I'm always trying to break the story. You know, what do we got? But let's not lose sight of the fact that Farid's like a perennial top 10 player in the world, currently number 6. That's where we're starting from. So when we're talking about a special guest of the top 6 player in the world, it's pretty good stuff. I'm kind of curious. One of the questions I've gotten Farid recently from a few people is this idea of, you know, you're a very feared player at the table in a sense. You know, at least among recreational players, are like, oh gosh, but you're Chris elaborated on this last time on the show. Kind of, you know, you come to the table, and I think for a lot of people, it's like, okay, here we go. I gotta button down. I gotta kind of get ready to go because I don't know what's coming. The storm's coming. At least that's some of the perception that's out there. Whether you're aggressive nature or you're unpredictable or whatever it is, just sort of your table presence can be intimidating, even though you're a super nice guy. I'm kind of curious, is some of that reflected in the course? I know people have asked that question. So is the course kind of designed for everybody? Is there a leaning toward aggression? Is there a leaning toward some of the things that you do? Or how much is your own playing style sort of integrated into the entire course?
No, yeah, 100%. I think that I basically want to teach you everything you need to win tournaments. Okay, I'm not trying to make you min cash. I don't want your min cash rate to go up. I want you to start getting W's, you know, because in tournament poker, that's where all the money's at, you know. So to be able to get that, you got to be very aggressive in nature, you know, but in the right spots at the right times. And at the end of the day, like I said, I want to kind of personalize poker for you. So if being too aggressive is not your nature, that's fine too, you know. Like I'm gonna give you a wide range of options in very complex spots where I'll give you all the way from the most aggressive option to the most passive one, you know, but everything in between, like they're all correct. That's the beauty about poker, you know, that there's so many spots with like 10 right answers. There's always one more right than the other one, you know, but at the same time, when you have 5 choices to choose from, you kind of see which one is best for you, you know, like which one fits my nature the best. But at the end of the day, I just want to prepare you to know everything that you need to start winning tournaments, because that's exactly what I want, you know. So I want to be able to teach you how to crush the bubble, and how to crush a final table, and how to lose that fear of busting, you know, because I think that costs us all a lot of money, you know. Like I think that all of us are willing to put in that big bluff when the blinds are 200, 400. But you know, when we're 10 left and we're 30 chips and we got to bluff the chip leader, that's when the money's made, you know. So being able to pull that trigger, you need, number one, a lot of clarity, and number two, a lot of, you know, you need to believe in yourself, you know, you need a lot of confidence. So that's what I'm trying to give you with this course, man, you know.
So I got goosebumps. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm like, let's go. You know, Jonesy, you got a question here, but one thing, as I know, one of the people that's going to be attending is Doug Drebeck, and he's actually in the chat right now. He has the most wins in our rec poker home game this year. I'm wondering if maybe for Doug, we could tweak it a little bit and you could teach him how to win less. So that'll be one kind of thing we'll put out to you, Farid. I'll talk to you offline, but we're gonna teach Doug different things. So Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Farid. I've also been kind of combing over the materials here, and I really love the structure, the way it's laid out between, you know, what class comes first and next. I think it's really logical method. But I wonder if you can sort of like talk a little bit about what the actual kind of class experience is going to be like, and what like a student can expect to sort of like, they join a class, okay, they're going to be in this thing for 2 hours. Is there going to be off the kind of felt work that they're doing in between class sessions? What kind of what is that experience going to be like for a student who joins this?
Yeah, so we hop in the class, and basically everybody's on mute for the first hour, hour and a half, where it's just me and my assistant kind of going through the whole material, make sure that you guys get everything you need out of that class. And then after that, every time we have some time left, we unmute everybody. We have time, anyone that wants to ask a question, anyone that wants to share anything about life, doesn't have to be about poker, kind of like, we just hang out for a bit, right? So like make sure that everything was understood in the right type of way. Everything, like the message that we're trying to give about the class, was understood by everybody. And after everybody's satisfied with the information, we kind of just hang out. It's kind of like a hangout spot where we talk about maybe a hand that you played that maybe has nothing to do with what we just went through, or maybe we talk about life, maybe we talk about something that we just went through that you didn't understand, kind of like just like a productive hangout spot, when we have time left. Because for example, like I think like the flop, turn, and river classes are a bit complex, so maybe that takes up the 2 hours. So for that, we'll create a chat also, like a Discord channel or something like that, where you guys could actually type the questions and we'll be active on there answering and this and that. So at the end of the day, like I said, we just want to make sure that everybody's satisfied with the whole information and that everybody understood it in the right type of way,
Yeah, and I love it. And I keep coming back to this too, but there's different people that have different training courses out there, and obviously we're associated with Farid, but I'm telling you, the energy that he gives off. I saw the courses, and I've also had a chance to chat with Farid offline. It's such a positive experience, and I think that's one of the differentiators of this thing too. Is it's not just like going to watch a video for an hour and a half. It's actually engaging, and then you get a chance to do the interactive thing, and then you get a chance to build relationships, and it really is this entire kind of holistic poker learning package, which I'm super excited about. Jim, did you have another comment or question?
Yeah, I did. You were talking earlier about, winning being more important than getting a lot of min cashes and like crushing the final table. And I know the course kind of culminates in this final table play session. And I think I have two things I want to talk about quickly there. The first is, how can people practice final table play? Because I think it's really hard for people to find meaningful practice where there's like real ICM implications or like the pressure's really on. It's just a hard thing to practice. And then the second thing is, I know you're not going to, it takes a whole session to get into the good stuff, but is there like one tip you could give a recreational player who hasn't had the time to prepare, but they're at a big final table now? And it's like, what's one thing they should be doing differently to help give them a better chance at winning that tournament?
Well, number one, how you prepare for a final table, I think the best way to do it for now, like as far as studying goes, I think there's a lot of good live stream material with good commentators, so I think that watching those high stakes final tables kind of like, it's very good for clarity. It's very good for understanding what the ICM positions look like, like how the stack differences, your ranges, your, the style that your approach, because I think a lot of times we're kind of lost, like we're mid stack going into the final table, and we're kind of like just playing our cards, right? And that's not really the way to approach it at all. It's like, what seat am I in? Who do I got to my left? How do my stack play against the stacks to my left? Are they really going to be reshoving on me a lot? Are they going to be putting a lot of pressure on me because I'm kind of like in the middle of the pack and I got two big stacks to my left? So then I got to tighten up a lot, like it's very, final tables are very situational, so you really can't really prepare for a final table. You just kind of gotta like watch and study a lot so you can know, like, if I go in with the big stack, I'm gonna take this approach. If I go in with the short stack, I'm gonna take this approach. If I go in with the mid stack, I'm gonna take this approach. Or if I'm playing a high stakes tournament where everybody's good, I'm gonna take this approach. If I'm playing a low stakes tournament where people are not really playing back, this and that, maybe I play a bit of lower variance, like there's so many factors that go into your approach, that it's really tough to design a specific approach just for Jim, like Jim has a playing style, but Jim's playing style should change a lot depending on the situation, you know. So that's actually the key to success in these final tables. And what was your second question about the?
If there was, for recreational players like us, if they find themselves at a final table, you know, some people are taking a shot online these days, and just like our buddy Ben, I don't know if he's in the chat today, but he's looking forward to playing in a final table soon. And what's like one mistake or one common thing that you would tell a recreational player, like do this differently or take this tip, and you'll increase your odds of performing well at the final table?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I think one mistake that I see from my students and from people in general, you know, including myself when I had not too much experience, is sometimes you kind of want to battle, or you want to get too creative, or you want to start doing things that are kind of out of your comfort zone, you know. So I think that this is not the time to start trying them, you know. So I think that in general, whatever gives you a lot of uncomfort, even though it might be standard, you know, in a regular situation, I would say avoid it in general and kind of look for clarity in all the spots, you know. And maybe you don't get the win, but maybe you ladder up 3 or 4 spots. But at the end of the day, you want to be happy in the way you go out. You know, you want to feel clarity in the final hand or in that final play that you made. You don't want to feel like you kind of did something that was way out of line just because you felt the pressure of the final table, or you want to get cute, or you want to get too creative. You know, I would say in general, just stick in line, stick to whatever got you there already, and just stick to the game plan. You know, even though it might get bumpy along the way, just believe in yourself and stick to the game plan and look for clarity in spots, you know, because I think that, I think it's very important. I think that it's easy to let the moment take over, you know, to kind of like let that pressure make you punt it in a way, you know, whether it's playing too tight or too loose, kind of like disconnect from the moment. You know, obviously it's a really, really important moment, but at the same time, there's so many tournaments. It's not the last time you're going to be at a final table. And if you think it's the last time, then just quit poker. You know what I'm saying? So just go with the flow, take it easy, and look for clarity in your decision-making process. And I think that's, I would say that's pretty good advice, you know?
I'm kind of curious your perspective on the impact of having a televised final table or a live streamed final table where, you know, the whole cards are shown. You know, what do you sense people are doing more often? I mean, you know, again, it's probably more the recreational, you know, $1,000 buy-in type tournament versus the high stakes. But, you know, I feel like there's two camps. You know, there's the folks that sort of really tighten up because they don't want to they don't want to be on TV and making some major mistake where they bluff and get called or whatever. Or there's the people that are going the other way that are trying to be like hyper creative because they want everybody to see how creative they are. Do you have a sense, like if I was going into a final table, if I should think people are generally going to be, you know, move one direction or the other? Or what's your thought on that?
Well, I can tell you from my experience, and I think it happens to a lot of people, you know, in the first couple of times you're at a televised final table, that for me, it affected me very negatively in the first couple of times. You know, I think I did a very poor job at my first couple of televised final tables, because I was kind of like, you know, you kind of let your ego take over in a way where, number one, you don't want to look like an idiot, right?
Right.
Number two, maybe you don't want to get bluffed on TV, like stuff like that the ego kind of gets in the way, you know? And number two, maybe you don't really have enough confidence in your game where you kind of just play your game because you want to make sure that everybody watching kind of approves your plays. You know, you want to play correct as far as what the standards of poker looks like. And that kind of affects you in a negative way most of the time, you know? So I think that the biggest mistake is that, you know, trying to fit in or trying to look good on TV, and it takes your focus away from the moment. You know, it happened to me a couple of times, and it cost me a lot of money, but at the same time you learn from it, you know? So I think that it's important to have confidence in your game enough where you just keep doing whatever got you there, no matter if people are going to call you a fish or whatever. It don't matter. You're the one there. They're not here, you know? So people are going to hate no matter what, you know? That's what I've learned. And the second thing that I think is very, very important is a quote that Kobe said in one of my favorite interviews, you know, Kobe Bryant. He said that, listen, man, like you're not that important, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, because they were asking him, like, how'd you get over the fact that you shot 7 air balls in a row in a very important, like, playoff game where everybody's watching, you know, everybody's gonna berate you for the next week, like Kobe this, Kobe that. And he's like, man, you just gotta get over yourself. Like, you're not that important, you know, like people talk shit, they hate on you, this and that, but then they get over it, you know, a couple of days later. So I think that was really good advice by our boy Kobe, man. Rest in peace. But
Yeah.
he was, you know, he was amazing with the whole mentality, and it's no coincidence that these guys get to the top level. I think mentality is the one of the most important things, you know, in all sports, including poker. So yeah, I think confidence and mentality, and remembering the fact that you're not that important. I think they're very good things when it comes to playing the televised final table, you know.
Love that. So I'm going to use that quote against John Somsky all the time. Whenever John thinks he's all important, John, you're not that important. Farid said you're not that important. I'm going to keep layering that on.
Okay.
John has such an ego problem.
Yeah, I know.
Start laying that on him.
Intentionally
Well,
picked
you look
John.
pretty important to me, man. I mean,
Yeah,
Oh my
that's right. It's
God,
all
he's
those
a rock.
pins. He's got all those pins on his head.
He's a rock star. Hey, one of the I saw Rob in the chat. Rob's got some internet issues. He's out in Vegas. You know, we can't all be out in Vegas playing poker, but you know, Rob is. But he mentioned in the chat, touch a little bit on how do you integrate sort of stages of the tournament. We talked about final table, but sort of stages of the tournament. How does that get integrated into the training? And Rob, correct me if I'm not representing your question correctly. Okay, yeah. So so how do you
yeah,
kind of
I have a class.
early stage, middle stage? You know, you get near the bubble, hit the bubble, pass. You know, just past the bubble. You know, how does that part of the training?
Yeah, 100%. You know, we talk about every single approach when it comes to different stages. You know, because obviously, like I was saying before, what I was saying about the final table applies to every other stage. You know, in the early stages, you take a different approach. In the bubble stages. But I focus mostly on bubble and final table because I think those are the most important stages of a tournament. You know, I think that everything else, you kind of learn the basics of the course, you know, raise first in, the pre-flop, the post-flop, the turn and river. That's going to be applied into every stage of the tournament, right? But when you want to get out of line a bit, whether it's on the tighter side or the looser side, it really depends on the stage of the tournament or your special situation, right? Whether I'm in a position to put a lot of pressure or I'm in a position where I can't take a lot of pressure. So then I'll take I'll take an adjustment in the tight wave. I can't take that much pressure, or I'll play a lot looser if I'm in a position to put a lot of pressure, you know? So yeah, I think that I do a pretty good job of explaining how to approach all types of stages, you know, especially the most important ones, which, like I said, are the bubble and the final table, you know?
So if you look at, I'm curious, you look at some of the success that your students have had, and I know you've shared that both, you know, your one-on-one coaching as well as people that have been through the course. Is there a common thread that you can detect as far as what light bulb went on? What did they learn? What did they start applying? What are some of those things that you think have kind of changed them from, you know, maybe a small winning player into a significantly winning player? Are there common themes there?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think that a lot of the times, you know, I give you a few options to choose from. And it's a type of course that, like, we're not really judging anyone, you know, so everybody feels relaxed there. Everybody feels in a way where they could ask personal questions that might look a little dumb to everybody else, but no one cares, you know. It's all about getting better, and it's all about improving your personal game, right? So when you gain that confidence and you see that clarity for your specific game, like I said, I think confidence goes a really, really long way in poker, you know? So when you combine confidence with the fact that what we're teaching actually works, I think it's just natural to start seeing results, you know? I think that it just comes natural.
All right. Well, I know we're almost at time. Any other questions from you guys on the panel? Anybody in the chat have another question for Farid? I'll kind of look around here. Everybody seems good. It's so tough, man, because we try to cut this off at 30, 40 minutes, but we could go for hours and hours. But Farid, maybe just kind of close off this part of it with just kind of what's the one thing that we can take with us? So we've got, you know, a lot of people listen to this thing, a lot of people watch it, but not everybody can attend the course, either because of money situation, even though we got all kinds of giveaways, or just because, you know, it's a limited class size. But, you know, for the folks that aren't going to be able to sit through the course, what's one thing that you can kind of send them away with from your knowledge base?
Yeah, I think that one message I would like to give, you know, is that I think that everybody, as a whole, we're going through a bit of a rough patch, So I think that for those of you, and I include myself, I think we're all going through a bit of a rough path as humanity, and I think that for all you guys who are maybe not seeing too much clarity in your path, or maybe not enjoying too much poker, or just not enjoying life in general, which is, I think, a common theme for a lot of people nowadays, right? And I think that poker is no different. I think that the fact that there's been so much action available to you online and this and that, there is a lot of winners, but there's also a lot of losers. It's just natural with the game. So I think that one message I would like to send is to just keep your circle clean, to try to keep your energy clean, your circle clean. And if you're not really enjoying the game, kind of like take a little break, and just focus on things that kind of make you happy. I think it's a time to be able to let go with someone. I think a lot of us need a nice circle right now who kind of like, whoever's down, you guys people that will bring you up. And that's why I like the RecPoker, because as a community, you guys give hope and you guys give good energy to people, and you guys give something to look forward, whether it's the podcast or the home game. And these type of activities what we should be focusing on. I think that the news is very toxic. The social media in general is very toxic right now. So I kind of want to, tell people to step away from all that noise and kind of focus on your inner circle and your personal situation, because I think we're not doing enough of that right now. And it kind of makes me sad, man, as a whole,
Those are good words, man. Good words. Well, we'll let you go there, Farid. I think I'm always so amazed at some of the best poker players that we love the most are always the deepest thinkers outside of poker as well. I think there's something going on there. People that have this perspective on life and the perspective at the table. I think it's very integrated, and I love, Farid, how you do integrate your life and your poker, and it's all it just is what it is. It's Farid, and so I really appreciate you, brother, man. Thanks for coming on here again. We're going to do some other things here, but for the folks that missed it the first time, how do they connect with you if they want to kind of stay connected on social media or the website?
Yeah, basically Farid_Jattin on Instagram, and FaridJattinPoker.com for the coaching, and FJattin @gmail.com. I have so many emails, so many. I forget my own email, man. But yeah, and to add to that, what you were saying about poker players, man, I think that if you let it be, I think poker is like an amazing life university, So I think that applies for everybody going through a rough patch. I think that it's just, you're going through the tough class in the life university of poker. Maybe you're taking calculus right now, which we all know that it's not an easy subject, But I think that, I think if you let the ups and downs of poker, which are way more aggressive than most things in life, just teach you, what makes you happy and what shapes you as a person. I think it's an amazing game, So I think that, we should focus on those things, whether we're going through the most amazing run or whether we're going through the biggest downswing, kind of like always focus on just taking it as an experience and as a life university episode, because to me, that's what poker really is, man.
So good. All right, Farid Jattin, man, fantastic stuff again. Feel free to jump off here. You guys connect with him. If you don't know how, connect with me. We'll connect you to Farid. We got the training course coming up. You have to check it out if you can at all. We have discounts if you're a member at different levels. We have discounts through drawings. We want to get you in the class, so figure out a way to do it. It's going to be worth your while. Plus, the people that have already signed up for the course, I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's a real great community of people, real great people. So Farid, once again, thanks so much for your time. Feel free to jump off here and we'll let you go there.
Thank you, Steve.
All right.
Bye, everybody. Happy New Year's.
All right.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Well, I'm excited that he mentioned calculus. I'm like, yeah, that's my wheelhouse. Like 30 years, every day I did calculus. That's what I did. But if he had said something like, imagine you're going through English class, then I'd be like, oh yeah, gross.
See, we're all nerds in different ways. Rob and I have our fantasy and science fiction books, and you've got your calculus, Steve.
I do.
Welcome to the party. We're all nerds.
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, for me, it's like, okay, someday, I just want to get Farid and Fedor Holtz and Marie Konnikova in a room and say, all right, we'll start the recording now. Go.
Yep. Let's get them there for the RecPoker Awards show. Just get them all in the room for that.
Yeah.
Just talk. What's your guys' thoughts on the conversation?
I just can't wait to get into it, man. Bring on February 3rd. I want it to be
Yeah.
February 3rd already. Why isn't it February 3rd today?
Quit wishing time away, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. No, I think what I got out of it is he is, like you say, he's so infectious. He's so giving. He seems so giving, and he seems so willing to share his knowledge and not on just poker, but in life and everything else. And his approach to those things seems so down to earth that I'm really excited for this training.
Yeah, and we've had a chance to kind of work with him. We're working with him on some other things, and he just cares about people. Like, he literally cares about people, you know. And one conversation, people can fool you. After a number of conversations, it's pretty tough to fool you. Especially, I'm skeptical enough, but the guy really cares, and he really wants you to have a really good life. Like, that is his priority, even more so than a score at the poker table, which is super exciting, right? It's fun to be a part of that energy.
Yeah, I don't want to give away any personal information, but one of our RecPoker Nation members happened to be in Las Vegas while Farid was down there, and Steve just put them in contact with each other, and they ended up spending several hours going out for dinner together. He met Farid's girlfriend and his buddy. They had some drinks here and there, and had a great time and talked poker all night. He's a great guy. He's the real deal. He's a host. Yeah. He's this, on the table, he's fearless and aggressive, and you don't want to see him, but he's still like this really nice guy. And off the table, he's exactly the way you'd think he is. I can't wait to get into this course. I'm so excited.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, no, and I've just been a fan of his as a player, and I think I'm just so excited to talk about, because what he talks about is like knowing when to sort of apply those levers of aggression, right? And like that, it's such a powerful thing when you see a player like Farid play. You just see the sort of, he dominates the airspace. Like, everyone's like, oh God, what's it gonna do next? But like, you can't just blindly do that. You can't just sort of like, push levers and be like, I'm gonna be more aggressive, so I'm just gonna like be more aggressive. But like, I think having some grounding and foundations for like how to find those spots, I think is gonna be great.
Yeah, that's what I was excited about with his answer too, because like, he could have easily said, when I asked him about, is your style going to be integrated into the course? Because I think that's a unique thing that he brings, and I was worried that he was going to say like, well, no, what I do is sort of, 10 levels down, we're just going to stick to the basics. And then I'd be like, well, it's kind of like any other training course. No, he's going to try to integrate that into it. He'll give you the options, but sort of explain why the more aggressive option is often preferred, or at least even giving you new ways of saying, here's a new creative way to look at it, even if it's not the right answer, to be able to say, oh, I didn't even think about, a check, raise, shove sort of path.
And I love, the other thing I love about this is that, we're going to spend like part of the time, there's a couple of courses at the beginning that are about pre-flop. And I think that's where a lot of conversations around aggression tend to land or live in. Right. It's this idea of, am I going to 3-bet, or am I going to, whatever. But this idea of like taking that post flop into like all the different streets, and even on the flop, people talk about, well, should I check raise or whatever, but getting that into the turn and river, I think is a point where sometimes we get a little like, oh God, this isn't working, well, abandoned ship or whatever. And I love the idea that we're going to talk about this sort of deeper into hands, and when do we abandon ship, and when can we try to apply that pressure?
Yeah, I love that whole, I'm going to check raise here. Oh God, he called. Abandon ship. Abandon ship.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of interesting because when I started playing No Limit, one of my leaks was I was too aggressive. Which, if you're going to have a leak one way or the other, leaking for aggression is probably better, because that gives you more ways to win. But trying to figure out how to dial it back and when the appropriate times to use aggression versus using it every street, every time you have a bet, basically pretend like you don't have a fold or call button, is not a good idea. So I'm looking forward to having the nuance of how to apply aggression appropriately.
Yeah, I love that. Jim put in the chat, leaking for aggression is a good band name, and I was writing it down as a t-shirt idea. Leaking for aggression.
I'll play the guitar. Who's got the drum?
I could But Rob can take lead guitar. I can probably contribute in the rhythm section.
I'll either do the tambourine or the little triangle.
I think I just have to be the band manager. You want me nowhere on stage for this?
Yeah, I'll help us
come on, you
contract
could do-
together.
Cowbell.
Steve, you could be
Okay,
the cowbell.
I'll be the cowbell. Cowbell /
Or
manager.
cowbell.
No, Chris has that. That's still too much rhythm for me. I'm going to help us contract together. Like that. Well, good stuff. Well, let's segue into some of the community stuff we have going on. But before we do that, let's hear from Jonathan Little.
Have you ever wondered whether you should call a preflop raise or 3-bet instead? What do you do when you have a flush draw? Do you raise it or do you just call? What do you do with ace king when you miss the flop? Are you tired of guessing about what the right play is with your particular hand? Well, my name is Jonathan Little, and I am a 2-time World Poker Tour champion and creator of PokerCoaching.com, where we offer over 1,000 interactive hand quizzes where you play a hand and then get real-time feedback from our world-class pros. Don't guess and don't stress. Just register for your free account at PokerCoaching.com/RecPoker right now.
All right, PokerCoaching.com. They got a nice, sleek new logo out. Be the Shark. Looking pretty good. So check that stuff out. Again, /RecPoker if you want to support what we have going on there. That would be fantastic. Well, let's transition to the home games, John. As always, I'm sure there's nothing going on, but maybe you can make something up to fill a little time.
No, actually nothing going on at all. So we're all, no. It's actually, the end of every month and beginning of the next month is always a really busy time for me with RecPoker because I have to set up the Tournament of Champions, get all of the next month's games scheduled, finish off any results, recording the results for the series. Well, this year there was even more, because it was the end of the year. So I also had to, unfortunately, suspend a bunch of people from the home game club.
Ooh.
But the good news is I think we've already had 15 or 20 of those reinstated. So all you need to do, fill out your information and my spreadsheets will magically tell me that you've done it and I will reinstate you once that happens. It might take up to 24 hours for me to get that information. So just be aware of that. If you're really eager, send me a note and I'll make sure I do it. But I try to, particularly now I've been doing it a couple of times a day just to make sure everyone gets in there.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out to me too. I know I've helped a number of people kind of through that process too, and kind of it takes a village. We're kind of all hands on deck. We don't want people to miss out, but John does an amazing job with that. And I'm just kind of curious, John. You are the nicest guy in poker, but I'm kind of curious if there's a little bit of you as you're suspending people, was kind of like, 130.
No. Actually, I feel really bad about it. Partially because as I suspend people, I don't have a way to communicate to them.
Right.
This is nothing personal. You didn't do anything wrong. You just didn't do something you need to right yet.
But you're suspended.
Right. Yes, exactly. And I'm also going to take a slightly different tack now for new players. I was leaving them I didn't add them to the group. But now I'm going to add them immediately and suspend them immediately because they still get notices of the home games as they are scheduled then. And so then they'll see, hey, why do I get this email about this home game that I can't even register for? And then they'll realize, oh, that's because I need to fill out this other information, or at least I hope they realize that. But again, if anyone has any suggestions to make this process easier for you or to make it so that everyone can complete it successfully, that'd be much appreciated. I even looked at trying to figure out if we could get the PokerStars username moved to the main tab so you didn't need to hit that little extra thing, but I don't believe that there's a way to do that. So it's a few button clicks, but sign up. We love to have you. It's a great place to be and we all have fun.
Yep, for sure.
So with that,
oh, hey, John, I'm getting a signal from Jim. I think he wants to do the drawing. Can I?
I don't want John to not be interrupted because that's going to break a streak.
Well, then don't hold the dice up to the screen.
No, that's what I'm saying. So we have to interrupt him. I think we kind of have to interrupt him.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It was kind of going too smooth there. Sorry.
I thought way too smooth. And like me getting the audio cue correct, this is way too smooth and polished a podcast so far. So let's break in here. We've got 7 attendees, so I get to roll one of my nerd die.
Well, that's why he was excited. It was more than
an 8-sided. So we'll strike 8. 8's the reroll. And we'll go alphabetically from top on down. Let's go. Who's going to get $50 off the free Jattin training
50-50 is
course?
number 2.
Number 3, Jack Burke. All right,
Nice,
Jack, send me
Jack.
an email, jim@rec.poker, and we will get that on your account. Congratulations.
Yeah, just so people know, if you've already paid for the course, you're still eligible to get up to $200 in discount. So don't let that be what we'll do is we'll just refund you the $50. So
we'll just
don't
give you
feel like,
cash.
oh, I shouldn't register because I might win. I will just refund you after the fact. So way to
secure
go,
that seat. Jack.
Abner. All right, John.
Sorry, John, were you in the middle of something?
No, not at all. Actually, that was a really good break. And congratulations, Jack. Okay, so on December 28th, LTP4 of spades. Anyone know what that might mean? LTP4 of spades?
Brandon, tell us, man.
But anyway, I don't know what the LTP stands for. But Brandon Smith won that tournament, his first daily tournament. Combinkly Eric Jin got his 6th daily tournament.
I know that guy.
Yeah. RecPoker Steve got his 5th daily series.
What?
Redland.
Glass jaw. Holy cow. Are they?
And partially that tournament, I saw the screenshot. Partially that tournament was won at the hands of the best hand in poker.
It was. I sent him a screenshot, baby. Pocket 5.
I sent him a screenshot.
I did. Of course, every time I have pocket 5s, I get ready to send the screenshot. Yeah. So thank you, Chris.
Excellent.
It was like heads up, right? And you had pocket 5s. You got a set. Let's go.
Yeah, it was either, I think it was heads up or 3-handed or something. It was shorthanded when I got it.
Shorthanded. It was final table.
It's kind of interesting because right there, Chris looked kind of like a proud father. The fact that I think he might be younger than Steve. But,
oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Kind of funny.
Hey John, I just want was it LTP4 or LPT4?
LPT4.
Ah, dang it, I thought I found it because there's an LTP4 framing angle plate for construction, but that's not it.
Anyway, ISNNMA Isnma Spike got his 2nd daily series tournament and officially won the last tournament for RecPoker of 2020.
Nice.
Well, congrats.
And then Keck Geek 65, Jacob Keck,
there you go.
won the very first tournament of 2020 and got his first daily series victory of the year and 10th overall.
That's appropriate.
I think he might be the player to beat. No offense, Doug, but I think Jacob might be the guy to beat in 2021. So, Doug, you're going to have to ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's looking like those are the 2 powerhouses at this point in time. Although, it's early in the year. Anyone can come on here. We don't want to call it done just yet. And then, of course, we had Kelly S. 1962-20. Kelly Stork got her first daily series victory of the year, 2nd lifetime. Then LTP4 of spades, Brandon Smith got another victory in the daily mixed event on January 2nd.
Whoa.
There's an LED light that's called an LPT4. So I'm going to start referring to Brandon as LED until he tells us what it means.
All right, there we go.
Good luck, John.
It burns efficiently.
East Coast Bitter Ben got his 2nd international series title, first of the year, and
Go
Evil
Ben.
Roy CA got his 4th international series title.
Couple of Canadians spreading out the ranks. I love it. Nice work, boys.
And then yesterday, Brown Eyes 13-120, Nikki Smith got her first daily series victory.
Cool.
She will have many more. She is a very good player. I know her a little bit. She's new to the scene. That will not be her last victory.
Sweet.
Yeah, I happened to get lucky enough to make that final table, and she was playing quite well there.
Yep. Very good. Well, thank you, Mr. Somsky. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, just make sure you put your usernames on your your PokerStars username on your RecPoker profile if you want to be playing.
Yeah, and you did a great job. I mean, honestly, all the people that you kind of got that list tapered down, I know it's a ton of work, but I'm encouraged still that, at least whatever 20 of those people right away were like, what happened? Why can't I get in? I got to get in. I got to get in. So there's a craving for people to get in. So we are doing the best we can to get you all in there. So thanks for your hard work on that, John.
Yeah, and despite the fact that we have been announcing this, for it's been almost 2 months.
Yeah.
We started, in the early November, telling people that this was going to be happening. But despite that, people say, "What just happened? Why did I get suspended?" So it's clear that there can never be too much communication about it.
Yeah, so that's where I actually put a flag on their record that says doesn't listen to podcast. Doesn't go to website. So now I know. That's why people are afraid to tell us, because now they know you've been outed.
And John, one of the things just that some people might not know if they aren't perfectly caught up is you're also doing the Saturday night practice mixed games, right? That's a new innovation in 2021. Yeah. So every Saturday there's a mixed game, and it's in the variant that's coming up in the monthly mixed game. Is that right?
Correct. So we have one more that's going to be, for example, our no limit 5-card draw. And then after that, we're going to deuce to 7 single draw, because that's going to be the next tournament that we have. So you'll get 4 or 5 chances to practice for a given mixed game event before the mixed game. Yeah, so I expect those games to be tougher this year. Yeah. And Mike Patrick isn't going to be able to win them.
Certainly not going 4 of them. So, yeah, so by then this one will air, this podcast should air January 12th, I believe. I think it's the day before the mixed game tournament, or whatever, 11th. Yeah, 12th.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So day before the mixed game, and I tell you what, John, it has been nice. I played the 5-card draw a couple more times, which I'd never done before. And I tell you, just even playing it a couple of times, I feel like, okay, now I got a little bit of a feel for it. I'm no longer calling a bet after the first draw, because I've got a really nice big draw and there are no draws remaining, which is what I did a few times.
That is a leak, Steve. Even I can
tell you. That's a little leak when I'm calling like Jack High because I got a straight and a flush draw. I'm like, oh, there's showdown? This can.
That's like counting your outs on the river.
Yeah. I picked up some outs.
Well, and it's kind of important, because with no limit hold'em now, we all have a feel for what's a good hand versus what's a great hand versus what is like an unbeatable hand. And it takes a little while in these other variants to figure out where that line is. Where are the hands you should be betting versus checking? And where should you maximize your value or just try to make it to the river? So, a little more practice helps out a lot with that.
Ace, Jack, 10, 9, 9, 2, 3 spades, or like, what's the play? It takes a while to kind of figure that deal out. So, oh my, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, thank you, John, for that. One note too, we did have something else end this week. The NFL season ended this week. The National Football League ended this week. I was lucky enough to kind of get close to Patrick. He had a 5-game lead. And the second to last week, I picked up 4 games because I took a lot of gambles and got there. But then he just crushed me the last week. So the name Mike Patrick, Patty 98, also
never heard of him.
Picks for this year. And then we had the Survivor pool. And again, Danny Schneider, thanks for putting all this stuff together. But we had the Survivor pool, and apparently 2 people went all the way through, picking a team that won all the way through. I kind of lost sight after week 5 or 6 or something. But oh man, I should make John say these names. Hawahaka and Ivor Big 1-2, whoever they are, they won the Survivor pool, and I think those are all eligible for a bronze pin, if I'm not mistaken. That's an additional series.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna have to get Huahaka and Ivor cut it in half or something, or maybe we'll just big up and send them each one. We'll set that up in the boardroom. You can decide, Steve.
Yeah.
Impressive to do a 17 weeks in a Survivor. So
yeah,
and you can't pick the same team twice, right? So they strategized it and figured it out. So
speaking of somebody who went out week 1, it's hard to go 17 weeks.
I got down to the last 5. But
you were?
Nice. Blew it.
When did you go out?
Probably 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
What team did you in? Do you remember? Probably the Steelers.
I think I picked Kings against Dallas.
Oh, right. Come on. God.
So do I have to
picked
mail
the
my?
Steelers first week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, congratulations to Mr. Patrick again. You know,
Yeah.
we're having the awards show coming up, and I don't know how much we're going to cross lines, but performance of the year, I think Mike is already in the mix for mixed games. This maybe gives a little bit more. It's like returning a punt for a touchdown when you're in the running for the Heisman, right? And a little bit more of a little punch there. So I don't know where things are going to land, but go ahead.
Sports betting, the ultimate mixed game.
Ultimate mixed game. So what else we got, guys, going on? Robin, into the book study that you want to share?
Yeah, we've got one more session of the book study, and then on the third week of January, we hope to have Chris Wallace on board for a Q&A about the book.
Nice.
Then, as we talked about before, we're going on break in February because of the Farid training. And I'm asking people to send me a tweet on on any of the books that they would like to see us cover in the future. And I think I've got a list of like 6 or 7 books already from people. So we got a good mix, and maybe as we get into February, I'll put out a poll or something on Twitter and put the top books that people have suggested and get a final count of which book we really want to start to get into in March.
Yeah, that would be
Don't
great. And if we can figure that out, then we can kind of reach out to the publisher and stuff too, and see if we can get some free
Right.
copies or something too. John?
I was
Sorry.
going to say, don't forget, I mean, although he announced it at the beginning, that's at Rabman50, RABMAN50.
Yes.
That's who you tweet.
Yeah.
That's my
who you
my
tweet.
Twitter account.
Yeah. Send your twits there.
There your twits there.
Send your twits to at Rabman50.
Rabman50. Good
I don't want to
stuff.
see your twits.
All our twits.
I'm
We're
in a
all right
room with-
here. You know all our twits
I'm
already.
in a room with 4 other twits right now.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Seminar, Mr. RecPoker Education. What do you have to say?
Yeah, I mean, new year, new plan for kind of all our seminars coming up. We're January seminar already recorded. The Tells and Reads seminar we had Zach Elwood should be really great
So
content. That
cool.
was a really good conversation, and I am really excited for February when we'll be talking about flop texture. Basically, is kind of the focus of what we're talking about, and I think it's one of the most important skills that a poker player can have. So we'll be talking a lot about it. I think it'll be a really good conversation.
So good. Well, I got a couple more things to bring up. If there's anybody in the chat that has questions or things that we should talk about, put those in there now as we're kind of wrapping up here. But we've already mentioned the home game thing. If you're suspended, reach out, go to rec.poker/home game. All the information is there. Feel free to reach out to me as well. We can walk you through that, no problem at all. Farid Jattin training course does start February 3rd. Details at rec.poker/Farid, Farid. And Jim's got all kinds of drawings and giveaways going on. We're doing stuff every time we have a member event. We're giving something away. We got the weekly drawing. He's putting Easter eggs all over the place to look for those in the forums, look for those in the newsletter, ways to get entries to try to win some discounts there. So take advantage of that stuff. And then January 27th is our awards show. Super excited. By the time this airs, we'll be a couple weeks away. January 27th, 6:30 p.m. Central, so 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 on the West Coast. Should be really fun. I tell you what, Danny and Colin have been putting this together and doing a magnificent job. We're having way too much fun. There's some pretty cool surprises that you panelists, I think, will really enjoy as well. But it's going to be really fun, and we're putting we've put surveys out there for nominations. We got those back. Thank you. Got a lot of nominations, so that sort of helped formulate some of the finalists, I guess. And now we're putting the finalists out in some of the categories out to the nation. So if you don't know where to find the survey link, go to rec.poker. You'll find it out there. We'll keep building out a page for that. But yeah, so do that. It's going to be super fun. The night's going to be really fun. A number of pros that are going to be giving awards away and then listing the finalists, the nominees. So it's kind of fun, right? There's a chance you could get your name listed by Moneymaker or Maria Ho or somebody like that, which is pretty fun as well. But a lot of fun surprises up our sleeve for that night. Let's see, anything else that we need to chat about? Anything else, you guys?
I was just going to say, I've been real impressed with, as far as the awards go, both Colin and Danny have been asking, oh, can we get this stat or this stat for the home game? So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they pull up there, and it should be a lot of fun.
They've got a lot of really good ideas for what those stats are. I don't want to give it away in case they want to keep it with some really fun things, some really interesting ways to cut the data and look at some things. I think the biggest things we're telling them are 90 minutes max, guys. So I think they want to give away about 600 awards. We're not able to do that, but it's going to flow. It's going to pop. It's going to be good. We're going to do some interactive things. We're put out some polls for everybody that's in attendance, just kind of fun questions on different things. Maybe give some stuff away there as well for the free course. I don't know, Jim, if you know what we're giving away at all, but that's a week before the course starts, so we can give away some things there as well. Do you have any thoughts on what we're going to do there yet?
Oh, it's just like cash everywhere flying down. It's just going to be like, oh my God, it's raining.
Do we have the Oswald statues made up yet? I don't know. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I thought you were making those. I thought those were.
Oh, damn.
I'm pretty sure the St. Oswald was in Radman 50's Twit account somewhere.
Yeah.
No,
And
all right, guys.
You realize every award show ever has run over since the beginning of time.
I know.
So, holding it to a tight 90 is going to be pretty difficult.
I know.
Well, we told them 60.
Yeah, we told them 60. It's like my dad. Dad, what time T-ball practice over? 3. So he gets there by 4, right? It's one of those. No, so it's gonna be fun.
I have a mom like that. Don't tell anyone.
Oh, I won't tell anyone. But no, we're gonna. So, and I would encourage you, if you're gonna do it, kind of jump on early. We're gonna have some stuff scrolling. We're gonna have like all of the tournament of champion winners there. We're gonna have different things kind of scrolling before the thing starts. And afterward, we're planning on putting together some blooper reels and stuff, like me trying to talk and say blooper rule. So it should be fun. Should be a fun night. But yeah, John, you're probably right. We're gonna need to give the hook. We're having our pros just submit videos because otherwise that could become too long-winded as well. So we're doing what we can, John. We're doing what we can. All right. Anybody else for the good of the order? All right, fantastic. Well, let's see. So go to rec.poker, sign up for the newsletter. Thanks to our sponsors, smallbusiness.com and Running Aces Casino, Racetrack, and Hotel. Thanks to our guests, Farid Jattin. Thanks to our panel, John, Chris, Rob, Jim. Thanks to Eric, Doug, Jack, Kim, Martha, Robin, Jamel in the chat. We'll chat with you next time.